I always hear, well, how do you know when to leave corporate? And is it when you're already making the exact same salary and you're in your side gig or whatever? And it's like, you can, but you don't have to. You have other choices. We feel so handcuffed sometimes to either our lifestyle or expectations or what others are thinking of us. And, it's the most freeing thing when you put your desires and goals and dreams first and not all those other things that society kind of throws your way. And it's worth it.
Welcome back to the Balance Boldly podcast for ambitious women in business and a few brave men. I'm your host, Naketa Thigpen, the #1 balance and relationship advisor in the world, coming here to make sure that you show up in your fullest self, that you are not just out here being in that Instagram life, taking pictures of what you want people to see. You are actually fully living the life you teach. I am excited because we are in a new year, doing new things, leaving old global pandemic things behind, all of the political unrest, the social unrest. This is a new era. Welcome to 2021. That's like a cheering. All of you should be cheering right now, like, whoa, because that's how I feel. 2020 had its blessings, the disruption of that unsolicited gift that we did not ask for called coronavirus, 19, and all the things that came out of that really made me and my husband and my kids and my G-babies, my grandbabies, for those of you who haven't been following us, it really made us reflect on what matters ultimately most. Like we all say, like we want to pay attention to what matters most, but this made us really pay attention to what matters ultimately most. Like it's not the money. Money matters. We need it as a tool. We respect it. We earned it. We deserve it. All of that is good. But the time to not just sit in each other's face and say like, oh, this is wrong, I don't like this, but the time to really look at what we want more of, and what we want less of was huge for us. I discovered all kinds of things that I didn't notice about my husband because of this pandemic. And we've been friends since 13, dating since 17, married since 22. You guys who have been following me knows that this is not new to me. And I was still learning things about him. Lots were really good things. Some I was like, you got me while I was young. I ain't know no better. What was I thinking? And then I was able to come to myself, right? And remember how great and good and awesome my God is, but also how awesome this love is that we have, and was able to nurture it. I know that wasn't the story for many people out there. Many of you who are listening to this are ambitious women in business and are few brave men, discovered that you were with people that you didn't want to continue to share your space and time with. And some of that was in your personal life, and some of it was in your work life. Either way, I hope that you made the bold and brave decisions, like we talked about on season 19, that you needed to make so that you could create the best life that you are meant to have. If you are still in this space of transition, that is okay. That is what this episode, this day, this moment, this season is about. It's about those crucial steps to your success that you're taking. So if you feel like you're in that earlier stage where you just made some really difficult decisions and you're pushing through, or you're still kind of in this conundrum of, oh my goodness, I feel frozen, I don't know what to do, today's the day. Today's the day to soak it in, to listen, to learn, to feel, to grow, and to be all that you can in this moment. Because I have an amazing woman. She has, first of all, let me just say a little bit of hate right here. She has beautiful skin, okay? And you guys know how I am about skin. I love good skin. She has beautiful skin. She is glowing right now on this camera. And you can't see her, but I can. So let me introduce you to Julie Ciardi, a former Fortune 500 marketing VP turned multi-passionate entrepreneur. Julie is the podcast host of Ignite Your Side Hustle. Why? Because she wants you to do more than just sit in this mundane space that you've been in, and get your booty in gear so you can do more of what matters in your life and in the lives of the people that you plan to serve in your side hustle. Julie is the creator of the Ignite University, a one-of-a-kind program to ignite purpose, passion, and profit with proven methodologies in business, as well as creating a mastermind space for like-minded women. For those of you who are new to it, it's okay. You need a mastermind in your life. let me highlight that, underline it, underscore it, and put some quotes around it. Get into a mastermind. So make sure that you follow Julie, even if you have to pause what we're talking about to go and make sure you follow her and come back to it. Make sure you get your life right. Julie is a mama of 2 teenagers and a little itty bitty kindergartner. I love this so much. She might as well add teacher to her resume right now because of all the things. Oh, and a wife to a lovely, awesome, amazing, strong, brilliant, and brave police officer. Julie, welcome to the Balance Boldly podcast.
Oh, I want to start every day that way. Thank you so much for that incredible introduction. And I just am so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Naketa.
Oh, I'm like so excited and a little bit hating because normally people are like, oh, Naketa, you have such good skin. And I popped in Julie's on camera and I'm like, listen, okay, she got a whole glow up with no makeup on, by the way. Okay. I'm loving it.
Seriously, I'm going to start every day with you. Talk about glowing. Naketa is glowing as well. You do have gorgeous skin.
Thank you. I'll become crucial to your success and how you wake up in the morning. That's what that'll be. I would love for you to share a little bit about what you're doing in the world that pulls you forth right now. And then we can dive into some of those crucial steps you took to get there.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for having me here. I think for me, my mission right now is to help more moms feel that it's okay to be more than mommy. Actually, my podcast used to be called More Than Mommy before I changed the name of my podcast to Ignite Your Side Hustle, because I'm just finding that so many women, especially working women, that are moms, they're stuck in this Groundhog Day of life. You've been talking about on this podcast for years. And I think, my goal is to help women see that they have options and they have choice. And that if they're not loving that day job, if they're not loving their current circumstances, that there's a path to find purpose and passion. And so that is my mission, to help more and more women be able to find what lights them up and the path to actually pursue it and the community to do it in, so that they're not feeling alone.
No, I absolutely love that. Years ago, I did a speaking engagement called Ignite with Attitude, right? Because I felt like we were always quieting ourselves and trying to tone down that spirit that really literally lifts up the world in so many ways, personally and professionally. So I love that you have gone further with that. Not that we knew each other or any of that, but just going further and saying, you know what, this is more than just igniting with attitude. This is showing up fully in ourselves to be amazing parents, amazing wives, amazing partners, but also being able to let go of all of those things that bind us to feeling like we have to play small to make other people feel bigger.
Absolutely. I had that very typical, type A overachieving upbringing of, okay, I got to do great in school, and then I got to get into the good college, and then, okay, I, got to get a great job, get the MBA and climb that corporate ladder. It's like the tale as old as time, right? So did all the things, kept trying to push myself, thinking that was the only option. I got to tell you, Naketa, I didn't have a lot of examples in my life of entrepreneurs or people taking totally big chances. Like, everyone followed the path. The path was, high school, college, you get a job and have a career. Yep. You stay in that career and retire, and then maybe you really live life then. And so that was everything I saw. That was kind of the path that was out there. It was the safe path. I say safe with air quotes because we all know that's not safe, right?
Definitely not. Yeah.
Now more than ever. But I didn't know, but there was always something inside of me that was nudging and pulling. And it was this voice always saying, you were made for more than this.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And I kept trying to find, well, maybe if I get to that next level or maybe, and again, then I have to get married. I have the 3 kids. I'm doing all the things. Now, I'm not going to say, of course, I love being a mom. I love having my kids. All of the things, right? But there was something deeper that I wasn't pursuing. Mm-hmm. And so what I think about myself back in this Fortune 500 company, high level, vice president of marketing, was a big job. But here's the funny thing. I mostly worked from home. This particular company was ahead of its time.
Ah,
And from the time that I joined the company in 2002, they were remote, mostly remote.
wow.
Yes. But here's the kicker, right? So it's when you're in this like very comfortable zone, it's harder to get out of it. What do they say? If you're in lukewarm water, you're not going to like jump out of it as if it was boiling water, right?
Right.
So like
Right.
I really had a good situation. I was making an incredible salary. I was mostly working from home. So I was able to, be with the kids when I needed to. I mean, I had a very busy schedule and I traveled when I wasn't home, but I didn't miss a play. I didn't miss, I coached soccer, for the little guys and all of that. So how do you walk away from that? So I couldn't really, I'm like, this is, no, but it was lukewarm.
Yeah.
I wasn't living my full potential. And so God, the universe comes in sometimes to say, I know you think you're going to wait till your kids have graduated and moved on to do your thing, but I'm going to like actually make this, a now thing. And here's what happened. After 18 years, I guess it was 16 years with the company is when this got decided. They decided to go back to the office.
What?
Now you had people, so backwards. And you had people that had moved their families to lower, like maybe they lived in the Northeast and they decided to go where the cost of living was lower in like North Dakota, right? But they could because they worked from home, right? So it was a massive, massive, hit. And so for me, it would have been a 2-hour commute one way to get to the office. 4 hours a day away from my 3 kids, no, that was not going to happen. And so it was, again, I'm so thankful that it happened because it forced me. Yeah. But the thing I'd love for your listeners to know is that like, you don't have to necessarily wait for something like that to happen, because if I could go back, I would have done this move a long time ago. but listen and take, if the universe or God hands you that escape plan and that reason of why you need, take advantage of it, lean fully into it. It's for a reason. So
no, that was crucial. You had to listen. You had to listen to your spirit. I know our listeners have all kinds of different spiritual backgrounds, and I do not hide the fact that I am a minister and a lover of Jesus, and they know it, and they still love me anyway. So there's no shyness here with the fact that listening to your spirit is so important, and regardless of who you worship. And you had to listen. That sounds extremely crucial to me.
Yeah, and this might be, I think, resonate with some of your listeners as well. So here I am now. I was the primary breadwinner, right? High 6-figure salary. When you we talked about that trajectory that a high achieving, type A person goes on, high school, college, career, climb the career ladder. Well, when you think about that, as that happens and your income is going up and all of that, your lifestyle goes up right alongside it, right?
Definitely, yeah.
And it's kind of expected, right? As you're making progress and moving, you're getting that bigger house, you're going on bigger vacations, you're getting the nicer cars, all the things. So of course, our lifestyle had gone up in that way as well.
Yeah.
And for me to leave that, right? Knowing, and I really did believe, Naketa, I had such belief and faith that I could totally be successful in entrepreneurship. I just knew it was going to take time. I knew it was not going to be overnight. And so I didn't know how to make that leap from a financial standpoint. And so here's the most amazing thing. I can remember my accountant had said to me, it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. And I said, you know what? I know we're supposed to be on this trajectory forward and, the better, bigger, better as you keep going. What if we took a step back so I could propel forward in another direction? Yeah. And you know what we did? We sold our house, we downsized.
Oh.
And here's the coolest thing. We reduced our mortgage and taxes. Everything went down 60%.
That's unheard of.
Exactly. So it goes back to that idea of like, and again, we weren't going to we didn't do as extravagant vacations for a little bit, you know what? But it was okay. And it was so worth it. And so I'm sure someone needs to hear right now, like, I always hear, well, how do you know when to leave corporate? And is it when you're already making the exact same salary and you're in your side gig or whatever? And it's like, you can, but you don't have to. You have other choices. We feel so handcuffed sometimes to either our lifestyle or expectations or what others are thinking of us. And, it's the most freeing thing when you put your desires and goals and dreams first.
Yeah.
And not all those other things that society kind of throws your way. And it's worth it.
You're speaking my language on so many levels. So for years, I've battled with people over the semantics of balance, right? Like I hear it because I'm a work-life balance expert. I'm really a work-life and love expert, but like all those things. And I get the pushback of there's no such thing as balance. It's harmony, it's integration, it's all these other words. And I would say it's how you define it. At the end of the day, my definition of balance is your truth, admitting what your truth is. What do you really want? If I want to be a mogul, then that's my truth. That means now I have to create boundaries for me to achieve that truth, which means pulling some things away, letting some things go, pushing some people back or all the way off the cliff, and allowing some things in. That equals my balance. So if I'm living my truth of, my desire is to run this business, to leave corporate, to become an entrepreneur, to become a successful entrepreneur, not just to have this as this phasing moment in my life. If this is what I really want to do, then perhaps part of that boundary is renegotiating what is it that I currently have that is no longer serving me. Do I really need the 5th bedroom? The kids aren't here anymore, but nobody uses it. It turns into a closet. Maybe we don't need a 5-bedroom house. And it's not because you're trying to just save money, to your point and to your accountant's point. It's that actually, ironically, Margie Felhoun was just talking about this the other day from Interview Connections about profit first. Being very clear and paying attention to what matters more to you. The reality that you could have a really nice cushion if you trim some things that you're not even using anyway. Do you need the whole gym in the basement? Girl, when the last time you got on that treadmill? Stop playing. Like what? Like why? Why? Like what are we doing? Right? Like, do you need it? You've been convincing yourself for 3 years that you were going to do this and you haven't. There's equipment you could let go. There's furniture that's probably beautiful that you can, gift consignment wise to someone who needs it. There's so many different ways. The 4 cars. Why does your 16-year-old need a Subaru? Like, I'm just saying, like, there's ways that we can really look at, is this really a sign of, oh no, people are going to think that we're losing something or we don't have something. I think in 2021, we can look at all those people in the eyes and just pull up our mask. And that is the answer. Like, we just went through a global pandemic, people. Like,
that's our new walking away from someone, like just putting that mask on and walking away. I love it. I love that.
Exactly.
I love it.
No,
you said something that just really, really hit me, is that, and it reminded me that when you really go back to your core values versus what society values, or what maybe your town and your friends and whatever value, I was like, whoa, I value freedom more than I value money. And I didn't know that about myself until I really understood it. And when I was totally okay taking a step back for a bit from a finance standpoint, because it's not like you're resigning yourself. Well, I got to go live the life of, someone that lives out of a tent so I can be an entrepreneur. No, not at all. Right. It's like, it's just taking maybe a little step back and reevaluating what your values are and what's important to you. And then of course, as the money comes, I mean, I like vacations. I like having, the pool, the things that we have now, but I was okay completely taking a step back for a year or so and really realizing that I actually value freedom and choice and not having someone else telling me what I need to do. And I will tell you right now, Naketa, that if something should happen, either whether it's in my business or whatever, I already know what I would do. I would do something on the side, part-time somewhere. I mean, I would go work, in a local business or whatever, just so that I could keep, as I was rebuilding my side business into my business again. There's no question. And once you see that and the joy and what can come into your life when you do pursue the thing that lights you up, you can't unknow that. You can't unknow it.
That's right. That's right.
Change forever.
Yeah, and if anything, now you feel like you're playing small to your reality if you are trying to, because some people do that because of their relationships, right? Like, and I hear it all the time because I work with a lot of married women entrepreneurs, and this isn't everyone's story, but I hear like, my husband can't, our relationship can't handle me being an entrepreneur because that's a whole nother level of hustle, right? A whole nother level of vision and grind and breaking the box of structure that we're already strained, so we can't handle it. So instead of having that crucial conversation and being able to maneuver through that for lots of different reasons that they hold back from doing it, they'll continue to play small longer and longer. And some of those women, which comes up, especially corporate, and I'm sure you can relate to this on one level or another. Some of those women who are playing small and dimming their light because of their spouses or what they believe their spouses can't handle or the relationship in itself can't handle, they become the queen bees in that corporate environment that are holding other women down. Like, listen, right? Like that's a whole nother podcast. But
totally. You were totally speaking my language on that, because I think back to corporate days and I think of the women that held each other down instead of now what I see in the entrepreneur space. I am so thankful. You said at the beginning of the call about, community and mastermind. I mean, I am just so thankful for the women that are in my life now that all they want to do is we want to help each other. Lift each other up, support each other, pat each other on the back when maybe like, a launch of something that they were launching didn't go well or whatever. And it's like, it was such a gift, but you're right. I saw that in corporate as well. And that was like the one good thing I can really say about my corporate career was that my goal was to be the anti person like that. I saw a lot of that around me. And which is why I had some women cry when I decided to step down, because they were like, who's going to know what I'm doing? Who's going to know my heart and know that I want to be a mom and I want to do this and I want, you know what I mean? And there was so little of that in the corporate space, at least where I was in the Fortune 500 space.
No, I think a lot of the listeners can relate to that. People are usually projecting their nonsense onto you because they're lacking that control in other places. And I think a lot of those women that show up in those corporate spaces that actually are a gift in some ways, because for some women that they're pushing down, they make them pop back up faster and say, you know what, I'm not dealing with this. I'm out. And they actually get to their entrepreneurial dreams.
True story.
Right? Or entrepreneurial leadership dreams, right? Faster. But it's an unfortunate way to have to get there and be there. And if they would just have the ability to listen to their spirit the way you did and say, okay, let's rethink how to do this in a brilliant and brave way. All right, honey, let's look at this mortgage. Let's look at these, let's look at these different things that we could do. And for your spouse, your partner to be with you in that, because he could have been like, look, listen, we got 3 kids. And if you count the cars and the house and the tuition and everything else we pay, we got 5 kids. Like when you count them as children, right? Like those bills. And I am not for it. You better find another way, sister. Go work a pole, something. Like, he could have been
and he was to some extent. I mean, you kind of hit a chord with the spouse thing. I mean, it was like I had to make the case and say, trust me. I would go back to the worst case scenario. I go back to a corporate job. Yeah. But I need to do this for me and for my family. But it's so interesting. I will say, because you said, about making it happen sooner, but I got to tell you, I was in corporate for 18 years. I didn't make that move until I was over 40. Yeah. So, I say that for 2 reasons. One, if you're younger and you just don't wait. And I said the second reason is you're never too old to make that choice either. Right. So, I think some people thought most people probably thought I was insane.
Definitely.
Insane. Like, What are you doing? But I found that people also follow your lead. Yeah. Right. And if you're believing in yourself and you're doing the work, like people, then they're like, whoa, wait, how did you do that? Yeah. But they're going to have their opinions and project, right, their inner thoughts inside. Most of them probably going, I wish I could have had the guts to do that.
Absolutely. That boldness and that, because the bold is the thinking, the bravery is the doing. And you did both, which is why you're at this space now that you get to ignite people along the way. And when you talk about people following your lead, you literally created programs where they get the blueprint to see how you got there. And then of course they can adapt it and modify it according to their gifts, their skills, their talents, their purpose, which makes so much sense. So I have to ask you, because you're doing a lot, Mama, when you're helping people shine their lights and open up that stuff and get through all that calcified chaos of doubt and guilt and shame and all that crap that we walk around with having to get through. How do you give yourself permission to pause?
Yeah, it's such a good question, and it's so important. And sometimes I feel like it's a little bit of a journey to figure it out. I think when I was back in corporate, because of the structure and all of that, and people kind of telling me what my day was going to look like, I found that I found that I did find time to pause and all of that. But once I got into the entrepreneur space, and it was, I had to create the structure, and it was all on me. And of course that now I got to prove that I can do this and make the money. I would say the first year of entrepreneurship, I did not do that well. I did not do the pausing well. And I think it definitely affected my health. I had a lot more anxiety and things like that coming. So I think what I started to learn was that when I almost have physical feelings when I know that I need to actually pause, like my body will tell me before my brain will, right? Yeah. I can feel it in my belly. I can start to feel like that anxiety feeling in my chest, and I'll be like, okay, we're breaking. And the two things that I do usually, one, I plan walking. Like I need to walk. I'll put in, like, I love Robin Sharma. I love all these different, amazing, mindset type of people that I listen to. And I will pop that in my earbuds and just walk and just recenter. But the other thing that I do is I realize that I need to probably clear my calendar for a couple of days. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I walk away from the business of what I'm doing, but I give myself permission to like think. Get clarity, pause, and just actually come up, let my creative thinking solve whatever is causing the anxiety and the stress to pop up. So I didn't learn it well to start. I'm much better at it now. And I try to now get ahead of it before my body even starts to tell me. But that's like kind of like the red alarm when I'm like, ooh, I can feel it in my body.
Now, I love that you do a clearing, because that's what you're doing, the energy clearing and making space for your curiosity and the adventurous part of your creativity to break through whatever was kind of like clogging that funnel, so to speak. And that is really, I'm going to use that C word again, that is crucial. Like you are creating this space for you, hopefully before the red alarm goes all the way off and before your husband and your kids are like, Mom, seriously, go to your room for 2 days. You're on timeout, right? Like before they put you on timeout, you doing that for yourself and saying, okay, I need to clear this out. It's okay. You've built your business to a space where I'm sure you're comfortable with being able to, delegate some of those things, whether it's insourcing, outsourcing, whatever it is that you have behind your model. But being able to do that, because that makes you a better gift to your clients when you do. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, that delegating, learning to do that, like I really learned that in corporate. I feel like, some people think, my corporate background and career isn't really, applicable to entrepreneurship outside of whatever your inner genius is. But honestly, I feel like there's some core things from corporate that are key in entrepreneurship that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with. That is like delegating, team building. I was like, the second I'm hiring people, I'm hiring people.
I know that's right.
I'm not doing all this. I didn't do it in corporate. I'm not doing it now.
You were like, no more changing diapers for me. That's it. Someone else can do it. No, I love that. Oh, Julie, you are such a gift. This is exciting. What you're doing is necessary. Let's be very clear about that. And I know that every single one who is gifted with the blessing of listening to the sound of your voice right now, whether it is live on replay, however they're finding this, will share this out, but will also come and follow you, because we are women, and those few brave men who are listening, of action. So I'm really grateful that you showed up and showed out at the top of 2021 with us. You are so amazing, and I'm so honored by your time.
Well, thank you so much. And I would love to connect with your listeners. I mean, I'm easy. It's Julie Ciardi on Instagram, or I also have a fun Facebook group where I help teach every single week marketing, social media tips to help women be able to really break out and ignite whatever it is that's lighting them up inside. So that is the Side Hustle Igniter Squad on Facebook. So thank you so much. I really feel like we could talk all day. We're kindred spirits, and I just love it. And it's been such a pleasure being here.
I'm going to be like the kids, #mutual feelings. Like that's going to be my new sign off. No, I love it. And I feel the exact same. Make sure all of you bold and brave women and men that are listening to this, make sure you go follow. Everything will be in the show notes. So if you were in the middle of teaching your little one, just know that you can pause it, screenshot it, and get that. Definitely join her Facebook group, if nothing else. You don't want to just, the days of just following people and hoping they come up in your feed are moving far beyond us. Go where you can get some actual community, some actual action. And then when you're ready, if you're not already ready, I encourage you to join the mastermind. Masterminds changed my business. Having a mentor changed my life. Adding coaching and advisory changed the infrastructure of everything that we can do. So having that team for my personal self as well as for my business self, if you will, was absolutely crucial to my success. So I encourage you to do it. Do not hesitate and put this on your next year to do, because we have already seen how fast the year has gone. I feel like 2020 was like here in a month and then gone in 3 days. So now that we're in 2021, make sure you follow that and share this podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe, rate, share, and review to make sure the other bold and brave women in business and men who are out there have access to these valuable work, life, and love tools, because that's what we're here for. We're continuing to show up for you every single week within our season to make sure that you get all the good stuff that gets you through those tougher times, so you can move from that space of survival into a place where you can thrive with freedom, flexibility, and confidence in your own work, life, and love. I am Naketa Thigpen. You can always follow me at Ask Naketa on any of the platforms that your heart's desire. Besides TikTok, I'm not quite there yet. My kids are embarrassed, so we'll pause on that one for a little bit. If you haven't picked up Selfish: Permission to Pause, Live, Love, and Laugh Your Way to Joy, I'm still rocking the international bestseller quorum, so make sure you do that so you can have access to all of those survival, memoir, and personal transformation things. In the interim, I want you to go and do everything you can to create your balance and to create your joy. I'm Naketa Thigpen.